So this video is gonna be about like a startup idea, not like a startup idea, but this video is gonna be revolved around like startups and stuff. This and to be specific, like the title of this video is gonna be my speculations on how successful startups are made or can be made. Right? This is just my speculation. I'm not like saying this is how you can make an successful startup. Not or this is how people made it a successful startup. I'm saying that this is how I think, how I speculate successful startups are made. Alright? Now why am I making a very guru type video? Well, the thing is like yesterday I was just like thinking about some things, and then just I randomly came across the idea of I guess my brain automatically like generated how and why, like how successful startups are made, like how I think successful startups are made, right? I really want to drill deep on that idea that this is just how I think and speculate they are made, not how it is. So and I found the information quite valuable, and I wanted to like make a I want to preserve the information that I gained, that I just stumbled into yesterday, because I feel like I might future me, like a me 2 3 years, 2 3 weeks from now, or maybe even like the version of the me from like 2 to 4 years from now would might also be interested in seeing this. So that's why I'm making this video, to preserve all the information. I know whenever someone makes a video like this, there's like everyone's kind of like thinking in their back of their head that he's gonna sell this a course or something. I don't personally have a course, and I don't like the idea of selling a course, because those types of businesses are quite, they're not seen in very good light, and honestly for some right reasons, because they like they're not like a scam, but they're just like, I don't know, there's just something about them. And every time you kind of like tell yeah, I just won't, okay, let's just not get into it, but like, yeah, I just don't want to be one of those people. But the thing is, like, I don't know if I want to let you guys know this. uh I personally don't plan on selling a course. I don't have a course to sell, and I don't really want to sell them, because those types of business are like seen very like there's like they're not like scam, I guess. A lot of times I guess they are providing you what they're like promising, but I guess there's just so much like ickiness around them, and sometimes they are scam, and sometimes they're like they exaggerate their claims and stuff, so it's a little icky. All right, but other than that, I don't like, yeah, I don't hate them. It's fine if you are someone, and you're doing the business legitimately. It's just that I don't personally like it. I don't have a course to sell. I don't wanna sell a course, but like I don't plan on selling anything. But like, I'm just saying, you never know where life might take you, and you might have to do so you didn't wanna do. So I don't wanna sell a course. I'm probably not gonna. But like, I need the option available on the table in case if I ever do need it. But hopefully I never get in a situation where I might actually need to use it. So yeah, I don't want to sell the course. But like, you never know what anything could happen. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So let's start the video. I feel like what I'm going to tell right now can apply to a lot of things, and it's not limited by just startups. But I guess I want to talk about it in the context of startups and building things, right? I think everyone kind of has a very vague idea of how these things kind of work. Like everyone has a vague idea of like, oh, if you wanna build a startup, just pick up a coding. Like you can just like start somewhere, where you start where you can. Like maybe learn a coding language, build something, put yourself out there. Hopefully something people pick up, improve your product, try to like figure out a way to like go viral or something. Use tactics used by the people who have succeeded in the past. Like very like stuff which all of us knows, But I think that the true differentiating factor between someone who is successful in who has a successful product and who doesn't have a successful product is, I think it's luck, skill, and depth of knowledge, right? Like, and the fact that the guy who is successful probably have tried more. Of course, there are people who are gonna get the who are gonna like who are gonna like who are just gonna be extremely lucky, and they're gonna hit it big on their first time, or on their first few times, and there are gonna be people who are gonna try really hard and be better at this, but it's gonna take them a lot longer, or they might not reach it, even if they might not reach it. But like but I do feel like skill, luck, and the how much you try also matters, and the fact that this guy has a lot more in-depth knowledge also matters. Of course, the in-depth part, like, someone might look at this and say that, oh, it doesn't really matter if someone has an in-depth knowledge in the project or not. It's just luck and timing and on whatever. And I don't like completely disagree with that, but I do feel like it's just, I think it, it's life is about like increasing the likelihood of something happening to you. Of course, you could have everything in your favor, and still things can go out of your, still you might not get the ideal outcome that you were looking for, or even anything close to that. But I think still, like, trying to stack everything in your favor is the best strategy, because, like, or else what are you gonna do? And sometimes stacking the the everything in your favor looks very different, and looks, I guess it's a bit it can be a complicated topic, and I don't want to get into that, but like, stacking everything in your favor can look complex depending on who you ask and how you do things. So I just want to make that distinction, because like, and I said that because, like, sometimes in some businesses and stuff, the fact that you know a lot and you know too much can, and I guess it someone can look at, can, a lot, this can serve as a disadvantage. Like, in some businesses, being naive is helpful, as compared to being knowing too much, or knowing too much of the wrong stuff. Like, a lot of people think that a lot of businesses and stuff feel like they have this conventional knowledge that, oh, you need to know this about this business, know this about this business, and know this about this business, and no one questions it. And that's why everyone keeps failing, or like gets the same results, because they're focusing on the wrong, or like not the most important thing, but like they're just focusing on the good enough thing that will get them result, instead of focusing on the most important things which will really get the result. But like, sometimes being naive can help. That's why I said that sometimes, like, stacking thing in your favor can look complex, and it's hard to define, and sometimes. And I feel like this example of being knowing too much can be a disadvantage is probably a lot more relevant than we realize. But I guess that's just a conversation for another day, right? So yeah, I think the depth of knowledge is really important. Here's why. Let's say you ask someone who wants to start a business. Well, what is he gonna do now? Like, if he has never started anything, he was gonna know, oh well, where do I start? Like, do I go on YouTube? Do I watch YouTube videos? Do I go on Reddit? Do I just start learning a language or whatever? Like, they don't know the first step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Whereas the guy who has done it multiple times knows where to start, and where to do, what to do, and how to do it. But at least that's somewhat of an idea. I'm not saying that doing these steps is gonna guarantee him success, but like, at least he's gonna know. And I guess if he can really make something, like, if you can't even make something and you don't know how to put it out there, are you really gonna? The chances of you succeeding and making a successful thing out of your startups is very unlikely. Whereas someone who does know those steps, for him, it's very high, right? And of course, someone might listen to this and be like, Well, if you've solved the example that um, there's only like when someone who has made a successful startup has to make a successful startup again might do the same step that he did earlier or do it with a slightly different approach, and this can kill creativity. And I guess a beginner's approach could be different, and the newer approach in and of itself can be an advantage and provide help and provide and at first it's gonna be a disadvantage, but like as you keep on going it's gonna become an advantage. Like sometimes doing things the old way can get really old, but and doing the new thing can help. Like oftentimes doing the new thing is really risky, and you need to like learn and fail a lot to get better at doing that. So it's just better to kind of like copy the guy who has already done it, or like learn the fundamentals from him, and because it's gonna save you time, and I guess you can kind of like build on the work that he has done. But again, you can also do this approach of like reinventing the wheel and kind of learning from the previous people, but like also like doing your approach. But like I do feel like there's a lot more value in doing like I feel like learning from previous people is valuable, even if you're not gonna use them. I think it can be helpful. Like you never know. It depends on the situation. All right. So yeah, so like they're gonna have a lot more in-depth knowledge. Like they're gonna know, oh, what do I need to do? Like it's like imagine a build like a rectangular building, and this building is like filled with like bricks, right? Now the thing is like the guy who knows a lot and has depth of knowledge is gonna the each and every brick is gonna be like strong, filled out, heavy, cementy. Whereas a guy who doesn't know a lot is gonna have a very like fragile, empty bricks, right? There's no like nothing inside of them. Like if you take the brick from the guy who knows how to like start a startup and whatever. If you take one of his bricks and like throw it at the wall, like firstly you'll realize how dense and like so heavy and like how much value it has. Whereas if you like took the break from the guy who doesn't know anything, you like realize it kind of looks like he knows what he's talking about, but like he really doesn't. He like has a very basic idea of thing, and he doesn't know much. But and maybe he could like learn things, and he could build that depth of knowledge and fill the bricks, and be closer to the previous guy. But it's gonna take him time, effort, and so you get what I'm saying. It's like everyone knows the vague ideas and stuff, but it's the depth of knowledge that you're praying for. Like how do you do the each step of the way? Like how do you do it the best way? What are the common pitfalls that you can fall in? What are some things that you shouldn't fall in? Like you get what I'm saying. Like depth of knowledge, not depth of knowledge, and focusing on that is probably helpful. So I think there's and maybe this video is also like an example of someone with a very like not a very good in-depth solution to things. Like I completely understand why someone might think that, because and it is that way because I don't have much depth of knowledge, and that is because, and this is just my speculation on things, uh, why they how they happen. So I'm not saying this is how things are going. This is just a random idea that I had, and I wanted to share to the world, and preserve it for myself for the future. I guess saying that I want to save it for the world is kind of wrong. I really want to save it for myself, but I guess the world can take the ideas as well. Cause if I would have like not recorded gone in with the idea that I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of this and upload it onto YouTube, I wouldn't have bring in the professionalism that I needed to, and I would have just like messed around, I guess. And I would have probably I won't have a place to upload it. Like I do have my laptop and stuff, but like I feel like just uploading things on YouTube makes things a lot easier, and it simplifies the process. right? So I want to like say that. And depth of knowledge is important. Just break is important and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's what I have to say. Like knowing where to start, what are the best ways to start, how fast do you need to go, or what are something shouldn't waste your time. Knowing many ways of not knowing how to do the thing, and knowing few important ways of knowing how to do the thing is, I guess, the key. And the more you keep on building this knowledge building with bricks with depth of knowledge, the bricks which isn't like which has dense volume and knowledge inside of them and are not just like empty from the inside is important. And as you keep on growing, I guess that helps. Of course, luck always plays a factor, but to say that depth of knowledge doesn't, and how much you know how to do the thing doesn't matter is also wrong. And also, some people have this idea that um, knowing how to do a thing, if like someone has taught you the theory and stuff of a thing, is equivalent of doing the thing, is equivalent to knowing how to do the thing. Of course, learning from people and theory can help, and you get really good ideas and stuff and tips and tricks. But I don't think it can, like, there's a knowledge and there's like practical knowledge. At least that's what how I distinguish between. That's how I like to distinguish. There's like theory and there's like actually how you do the thing, like the hands-on experience. I feel like having the right amount, learning both, having both is the key, not just one or the other. Some people like to focus just on getting the hands-on approach and just learning from learning from their experience, and which is fine. I guess you can do that, but I do feel like if you can incorporate the first one of also like learning from others, that is also going to be important. And yeah. And sometimes people are on this very far end side of things where they're just like learning about things but they're not doing things. For them it might make sense to just start doing things and then and maybe like forget about like like stop worrying about if they're gonna consume the content or not. They can like relax and just maybe watch a little bit of the content and then just do the thing. Like sometimes you watch stuff and it overwhelms you. It like really overwhelms you. So you just, I guess what I do is I personally just stop watching and then I just take in what I got and I just try to make something out of it and then I come back. That's not all what I always do. There are times when I would consume a lot of information and then I guess I'll just like consume a lot of information and then um, do the work. It's not like as easy as to say, it's not like a black and white situation where like you're just either doing or learning, or else you're in the perfect sweet spot all the time. Sometimes you're gonna be real just learning and not doing stuff. Sometimes you're just gonna be doing and not learn stuff, and sometimes you're gonna be in the perfect sweet spot. Figuring out where you need to be, and when you're making a mistake, is the key. Like if you feel like you're watching a lot of content, consuming stuff, but you're not putting it to action, then I guess fixing that and moving yourself over to the direction where you do that stuff is important. And it just depends on where you are and what you need to do. But usually, like consuming a lot of stuff and not like putting it to use, or like finding a way to kind of like retain the information, on like being practical about it and like not doing anything with it and just consuming it without doing action, or like consuming the thing without like saving, without having a system of saving the information in your head with which you can like retain it better, is bad. Like if you just consume something and you don't have a system for retaining knowledge and things, I guess that's bad. And another example is that another bad thing is that usually a lot of people who just consume something, they will like take any action and use the thing practically, that is also bad. You gotta like be careful with these two examples, right? Like you gotta figure out a way, or like make a system where you learn, like figure out what's important, when you need to learn, what you need to remember, what you need to retain, how you are gonna do that. That's the system you have to make. And another thing is, you have to like recognize when you're just consuming stuff and you're not putting it to use, and actually start using it. Like if you're like on this side of thing where you're not doing anything, where you're not just like taking information, not doing anything with it, then I think pushing yourself over to the practical zone is important. And I guess it depends on the situation. I guess all of these things are just like problems and solutions. Like these, like if you really think about it, the fact that you're just consuming stuff and then you're not doing anything with it is a problem that you can just fix, right? If you approach it with that this is a problem, I need to fix it. Okay, so how do I fix it? Well, just stop doing this and this and this, and just try to move yourself over to here. Maybe you might need like lie to yourself, or like talk to yourself like a kid and be like baby talk yourself into like doing things. So yeah, okay. I like how this video turned out. I hope I like really listening to it. Yeah, bye. Hope you have a nice day. Wish you well, and thank you.